Story of Strive – Success Lessons from Steve Jobs. Want to hear some of Steve Jobs' success lessons? Steve Jobs was an incredible inspiration in the wonderful world of technology, and without his perseverance and vision for Apple computers, the technology market may not be what it is today. Jobs was always focused on building a perfect product and attempting to do what others thought could never be done. 1. It starts with the product. If you can learn anything from Jobs, it's that he was always focused on the product and would do anything to try and get it as perfect as possible. He had a vision of the product he wanted to build, and that's what he set out to achieve. Don't get me wrong, the product is obviously not the only crucial part of creating a successful business, but it's certainly the foundation for one, and was Jobs' primary concern. Put above the marketing side of things. Focus on creating a great product and brand that people just can't help but be tempted by, and never stop improving it. If your product is of a poor or even mediocre quality, it's not going to stand out to anyone, and there's only so many sales you can take from polishing it with top marketing techniques. If you keep your eye on the profit, you're going to skimp on the product. But if you focus on making really great products, then the profits will follow. Steve Jobs. Set yourself apart from the rest. When building the Mac, Apple were determined to be different from the rest and do things that other computer companies had never done before. They designed the first home computer where the keyboard was actually detached from the rest of the computer, and they designed the first to have more than one type font, which is where the big controversy of Microsoft stealing their ideas came from. Apple has shown that setting yourself apart from everybody else is important when trying to stand out in a crowded market, and it's brought them nothing but success. It's quite clear that when it comes to new developments and innovation in the personal technology market, Apple are always at the front line. 3. You have to persevere. Becoming a successful leader in your field and building a successful business takes perseverance. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do, otherwise everyone would have their own business. Jobs suffered during his journey to building Apple to what it is today. There were some hard times he had to get through, including leaving Apple for a short period. So, no matter how far along the line you may be, how tough things may seem, the key is to just keep persevering. The temptation to quit is highest at the point just before success. They quit at the 1-yard line without even realizing it. Can you really afford to quit at that point? And since you have no idea when that point will arise, just never quit what you're doing and you'll go far. I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. Steve Jobs. 4. Quality goes further than one layer. If you didn't already know that Steve Jobs was absolutely focused on making sure the product was perfect, this says it all. Jobs was a true perfectionist, and he wasn't willing to cut corners at any stage of the product's design. It's very easy to focus on one specific area of a product and make it as perfect as possible, neglecting some of the other areas. If you're going to go to the effort of creating a product that you wish to be successful with, then the quality control needs to be all round, not just on the outside. 5. Never stop innovating. Briefly mentioned above, Apple is at the forefront of innovation when it comes to the personal technology market. Jobs was always trying to come up with something new that he could add to give Apple the edge over everyone else. Innovation is the key to growth, and if you're unable to innovate in the business environment, it's very easy for someone else to come along and beat you to it. But innovation comes from people meeting up in the hallways or calling each other at 10:30 at night with a new idea, or because they realize something that shoots holes in how we've been thinking about a problem. Steve Jobs. 6. Trust in yourself. One of the most famous quotes that Steve Jobs has said at his Stanford commencement address was that you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. Which means you just have to trust in yourself and have faith that the dots will connect in the future. If you have the belief that things will work out, then your effort will naturally be much higher, and you'll work harder. Whereas without this belief that what you're doing right now will work out and benefit you later down the line, the motivation to drop your leisure time and keep pushing on with business work will be low. 7. Love what you do. Okay, so maybe Steve Jobs wasn't the only one who taught us that you need to love what you do in order to be successful at it, because a lot of the time people will work hard at what they don't like that much. It just happens to be that there's a good reward for doing it, and that's really where most people fall down. A lot of effort into what they don't enjoy, wasted time, and high temptation to quit when things get tough. On the other hand, trying to succeed at something you love is not that difficult. You'll do it every day happily and naturally get better over time. That voice of "how much have I got left to do" won't be inside your head. If you don't love something, you're not going to do the extra mile, work the extra weekend, challenge the status quo as much. Steve Jobs. 8. Give your best effort with anything you do. You've got to give it 100% with everything you do. Just slacking for a small period could set you back a long time. Especially when we're in a world that's quite difficult to stand out in. That extra 10% effort you could put in definitely gives you an advantage over those who are simply half-assing it. You've baked a really lovely cake, but then you've used dog crap for frosting. Steve Jobs.